I'd like to introduce you to Alan Reid, who, as I'm sure you are, doesn't need any introduction. Alan Reid is our MP in Westminster.
Thank you, and great to see this magnificent turnout here today. By you all turning out on this day of all weathers, snow, sun, rain, that you've proven the dedication that you all have to saving the pool and showing the community is making a magnificent effort to save the pool. I want to just quote something from the Council's website. The Council's policy says, "Learning to swim is very important, especially in a town surrounded by water." Now that's on the Council's website about the Noon Pool, but exactly the same applies here in Midergyle. We're surrounded by water, the canal, the sea, rivers and so on. Learning to swim is so important. It's the policy of not only the Argyll and Bute Council, but also the Scottish Government, Westminster Government. So what we want to see is the Council put that policy into practice. The community here in Midergyle built this pool, it has run it and supported it successfully for many years. But as we heard earlier, every swimming pool in the country runs at a loss, and the Council should be supporting the community effort. This is what Council should be encouraging, helping communities to help themselves. And this community has certainly helped itself. It made a magnificent fundraising effort earlier in the year to clear off the debts. And all we're asking for is for the Council to give a relatively small amount of money in order to keep this pool open. The pool can't be allowed to close. That would be a complete travesty of justice if this pool was allowed to close, while other towns in Argyll and Bute have swimming pools that are subsidised by the Council to the tune of hundreds of thousands of pounds a year. Yes. You here in Midergyle pay your council tax just exactly the same as everybody else in the country. And by turning out today, you've shown what you want your council tax to be spent on, and that is keeping this pool open. You have the same rights as everybody else in Argyll and Bute for your children to learn to swim. Learning to swim saves lives. Also, it's very good for health and exercise, and it's very important to note that the local medical centre and the consultants at the Argyll and Bute Hospital are strong supporters of the pool. That shows how important the pool is to the community. I simply cannot understand why we're having to demonstrate here today to save the pool. It's such an integral part of the life of this community that it's complete nonsense that some of the councillors just will not listen so far. There are several councillors here supporting us today. So some councillors have seen the light. What we want to do is continue the campaign to make sure that a majority of councillors see the light. Over the years, this community has supported its pool. It's time for the council to put in a relatively small amount of money. The amount of money we're talking about, an extra 30,000 a year, it's just a rounding error in the council's books. I'm sure that when the accountants do the figures at the end of the year, they're working in hundreds of thousands of pounds. You'll see the comma 000 at the top of each column. £30,000 is insignificant in the council's budget. They must give the money to the pool. I'm delighted that talks are at long last taking place. We have several councillors here supporting us today, and I assure you that I will continue to harry those councillors who are not yet supporting you to make sure that a majority of councillors do support you. And the sun, they say the sun shines on the righteous. Well, it's just come out to shine on us all. So I hope that's a good omen. This community has worked hard over the years for its pool. It needs to keep its pool, and it must keep its pool.
Thanks, Alan. Thanks very much.